Okay, we are live everywhere also. It's almost 6 p.m. So we'll just get started. So thank you so much everyone for joining in for the second session of the day. Earlier we covered startup growth stories from Indore. This particular panel is part of the startup growth stories from Kolkata. So we'll be doing a lot of interesting things as part of this CoRise summit. But one of the things we really wanted to do is to have understand about the startup ecosystem in various cities and success stories from those cities. So we'll just get started without him. The basic format will be we'll have each of the speakers briefly introducing about themselves, about their organization, and then we'll have Ravi who has agreed to moderate this panel. So thank you so much, Ravi, for taking this up. And towards the end, I'll again make a guest appearance with audience questions and the rapid fire that I really love doing that. So thank you so much, everyone. Again, we'll just get started with a brief introduction. Suja, if you can briefly tell us about your background and about your firm in a minute or two.
Okay, hi everyone, and thanks eChai for this wonderful opportunity and great to get connected with all of you. I'm Sujay Santra, founder CEO at iCure. Prior to starting iCure, I have worked in IBM Oracle, last in Oracle as a solution architect. And while starting iCure, I was seeing that technology was playing a key role in many areas, be it telecom, finance, and many others, but unfortunately not within the healthcare space. So that was the whole reason and origination to start iCure, even though I was doing pretty well in my corporate career. But I could see that whatever work I was doing, I was not able to connect with my own set of people. So that was the whole origination. And thankfully, we are actually in the 11 years of our journey. Initially, 4-5 years, we were a pure technology company trying to work with governments, corporates, NGOs. And then we figured it out that just technology is not good enough to create the right kind of impact. So we forayed into the actual healthcare delivery, wherein we are now as a population health management company, we have our own set of clinics, which is on a hub and spoke model. So hubs are physical clinics, that is physical doctors, medicines, all the tests being done. And we have the spokes, which are the touch points, which goes deeper into the pockets, and we have the frontline health workers. So in a 3-layered architecture, we are providing comprehensive primary care. So till date, we have treated more than 1.3 million underserved patients. We are treated, we're covering around 11 million population in India. And apart from our own healthcare delivery, because of the pandemic, we are seeing that for us, India as a country needs 200,000 health and wellness centers. So even if iCure is a market leader, and if it is not able to cover a significant portion, we are not there. So for us is to operate own, which is our own clinics, operate wherein we can work with the governments and the partners. Like we are working with the state government of Nagaland to provide the telehealth for the entire state of Nagaland for 2.6 million people across 11 provinces. We are partnered with the JICA, Japan Industrial Corporation Agency, because the telemedicine has come as a law, but that does not mean that every frontline health workers, doctors, or the population is adopting it with open arms. Imagine a senior citizen like a 70-year-old age old, and if he wants to communicate with a doctor on a smartphone, let's say, even if he is tech savvy, he or she is tech savvy, and the patient says, I've got fever, or I've got certain ailment, and the doctor says, how much of fever? The patient says, I don't know because I don't have any device at my home. Imagine what kind of treatment the doctor would be able to provide. So we have something called as aided telemedicine, wherein we have our frontline health workers. They are able to go to the patient's doorstep and capture their details and then initiate the call with the doctors. During the entire pandemic, we have done a lot of COVID-based screenings for various factories, industries as they have come out of the lockdown to ensure the health and safety. Recently, we also conducted the bio bubble for the road safety series, wherein we had to create the bio bubble for the legends of the cricket, like all the cricketers from Six Nation tournament. It was a huge, challenging assignment, but yes, we had conducted it very successfully. So there are a lot of interesting things, especially we are at a situation wherein people now have understood what is the need for a population health management. It's good to have, aggregator model businesses, but it's also much more important that if you do not have health, if you don't have primary health, nothing is there. I mean, the pandemic has given us a biggest lesson in that way.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, so to say. Yeah. So I think that's my opening thoughts. So I would like to pass on to my co-panelists, and then I can talk
Awesome.
about it.
Thank you so much, Sujay. So typically, if this is a offline event, we would have asked everybody to clap louder. It creates amazing vibe. For online, we are just trying to figure out what we could do better. Sukriti, if you can give us a little bit about your background and about your organization.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I'd just like to start introducing our box as what we do and what we're doing right now, and a little bit about my personal background. So Outbox is a premium surprise planning company, a little too fancy, and what we do is we plan experiences. So it could be like going on a private romantic dinner with your partner, or celebrating their birthday's anniversary on a yacht, or chartering a helicopter. So we are actually fulfilling and catering to the needs of the young age millennials who want to go out a little extra and go a little extra on to celebrate occasions. And so we started as a delivery company first, like straight out of college. I have a background in mass media from St. Xavier's, Calcutta, and I started this with my partner, who was a friend in college, and we started as a delivery company, which was delivering fancy deliveries. So, for example, what we were saying is, if you're spending on a gift which is very premium, say you're buying a gift and sending it to someone for 3,000 rupees, why not make the delivery as an experience of receiving it? So we started sending guys wearing suits to deliver the gifts, or maybe a Mickey Mouse delivering gifts to children, on their birthdays. And from that, we started getting a lot of requests for, sending a guitarist or sending Santa Claus on Christmas. And from that, we shifted to creating experiences, dining experiences. And now today we hold a major share of the market doing wedding proposals, which has become our forte these days. So we are basically a platform in Calcutta, but now we recently just expanded to Bangalore last year.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sukriti. Aishwarya, if you can tell us a little more about you, about Oli Lifestyle.
Hi, Jatin. Hi, everyone. How are you? I started Oli about 3 years back. It was a passion project. I was working with Godrej and Reliance and all the big wigs in their headquarters, doing the big fancy job, living in Mumbai, fancy life, all that. Like Sujay said, at the end of the day, I was not feeling satisfied. I was still feeling hungry. The package was not everything, but I felt that, there was a bigger purpose in life. And then finding that purpose was another journey. I took a sabbatical for a year and then started Oli. I moved back to Calcutta because my parents live here. And, even though it was a crowded market, I think skincare somewhere had my heart, because I knew that there was a lot of marketing tactics that were being used in this industry, where you can use easily sort of make people gullible and fall for your, whatever you're saying, because every girl needs skincare. In fact, every boy does too. And I felt that somewhere there was a basic education missing. Nobody was really going into and educating without selling skincare, which is in today's day and age is as important as say brushing your teeth, right? So because it's the largest organ of your body, it's important to use only products which are designed for you. Everyone's skincare is like their finger print, so to speak. So the fingerprint is important. Your skin type, your understanding of what product looks good on you or suits you and is actually effective is also very, very important. And hence we started Oli Lifestyle with a bunch of 5-6 ingredients which are easily available in India. And then we slowly expanded nationally, and we started. We had 50,000 odd customers very quickly. And we started making active ingredient products which actually showing benefits and results, and it's a result driven company. And I would say by God's grace we got some funding, then we set up our Shopify. We became, we tried to start something locally and become a global brand, and I think we've done fairly well in terms of giving people the experience that they want in terms of skincare, because really it's all about value creation. If the product is just not good enough for people to keep buying it, then it's absolutely of no use. So yeah, so that's what I would like to say about Oli. And
awesome, thank you so much, Aishwarya. Ranadip, your brief introduction, then we'll have Ravi take over the session. Yes, Ranadip.
Hi, am I audible enough?
Yes, very clearly.
Yeah. Hi. So I run this company called Rare Planet. Started it back in 2015 when I was in my second year of college. Done with my engineering and stuff, and today we are there across 200 plus locations across the country. We have our own stores in different airports, whether it's Goa, Varanasi, Calcutta, Bangalore, Delhi. We support 20,000 artisans across the country, create unique products along with these artisans, and then sell it across the globe. We are opening in airports outside the country now in next 6 months. Raised 2 rounds of funds, working towards raising the next round. So yeah.
Awesome, brilliant. Thank you so much, Ranadip. Ravi, your brief introduction, and then I'll. Typically, we say the stage is yours. I'll say screen is yours. I'll make a guest appearance around 6:45 then. Yes, Ravi.
Sure. Thanks, Jatin. Really appreciate it. I think glad to be here with all the friends here. Sujoy, we might not have met, but I have been following, and Ashwarya, you as well, Sukriti, Ranudip. Glad to meet all of you guys. My name is Ravi Ranjan. I have had the privilege to be part of the Indian startup ecosystem for past many years. Worked with primarily angel networks, incubators, VCs, etc. In my last job, I used to work with NASCOM, where I was managing one of the largest startup initiative in the country called 10,000 Startup. For last 3 years, I've been working. I run 2 strategy consulting company, one into education, one into entrepreneurship and open innovation space, where I work with a lot of stakeholders, which includes government, corporates, angel networks, etc. Today is a very interesting session. Jatin is a very old friend. First of all, thanks to Jatin that you have been able to bring eChai at various occasions in the past as well to Kolkata and eastern part of the country. Today, while we all are trying to cope up with this very difficult scenario, as we always say, the show must go on. So while we are tracking the news and everything happening, but certainly it's a very interesting opportunity for to have these 4 very interesting entrepreneurs trying to solve various problems. And in fact, I was very impressed by Sujoy's introduction, and we all can appreciate and we all can understand how important healthcare is. At the same time, listening from Ashwarya, Ranadip, and Sukriti would be very interesting. My first question, I would like to start with Ranadip. Ranadip, you started when you were still in college, from a place in Kolkata, East India, where if you look at traditionally, Kolkata or West Bengal is not very entrepreneurial in terms of people are very creative. They love music. They love, creative. In fact, some of the top finance brains are from West Bengal. But when we talk about building ventures, solving problems, I mean, we have a lot of examples, but not, maybe not the best one. What inspired you in college? I'm sure you must have received a lot of challenges in terms of your peer pressure that you need to go out and get a job, but still you decided to build Rare Planet. What was your inspiration to start this from college? Ranudeep, over to you.
So Ravi, when I started back in 2014-15, we had this revolution of Amazon and Flipkart. Amazon was new to India back in 2015, and digital businesses were just starting up in India, and a lot of people were raising funds, whether it's just Ask Me Bazaar, and then there was a couple of other shop clues, and these people were doing really great at that point of time. And with the peer pressure thing, it was really difficult. I'm a Bengali myself, and I don't know what is the audience here, but people will know from Bengal. Bengali parents are after our lives to get some job. So was the same with my parents and family around us. They were like, बहुत सरकारी इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में पढ़ के ये सब क्या घटिया बिजनेस कर रहे हो, बिजनेस तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है, तुम वो करो जो सब कोई कर रहा है, you should get a job in next 2 years. But then I got stuck onto it in my second year when I started. I remember meeting Ravi at NASCOM, and I'm really thankful to the small ecosystem that got created in Calcutta, which inspired me, and learned about a lot of other entrepreneurs outside the city and across the country, which also inspired me. And I got just stuck onto it. It's been like 6 years now, and I realized one thing, that if you keep doing one thing for over and over for a lot of time, you become perfect at it. And maybe it is that persistence that helped me with Rare Planet. But yeah, there were a lot of hindrances. I still remember my parents were so against it, my classmates, my professors. But by final year, when I was graduating, things had turned, the tables had turned by then. Yeah, so maybe that persistent help back then, and it's still helping.
Thanks a lot, Ranadeep. I'm sure we'll hear more from you. So, Joy, my next question to you, very crucial healthcare. While people have been talking for years and years that we need to spend more on healthcare, we need to bring technology, we need to bring cutting edge innovation, which unfortunately is not there. Today, when pandemic started in April 2020, India was not producing even a single piece of PP kit. From there to now, that December 2020, India was the largest exporter of PP kit. Today, the same scenario is happening with oxygen, with injections, with ventilation. My question to you, Sujoy, you worked with large tech organizations. These are multinational corporations. Do you think working in these corporations and bringing your analytical approach has helped you take iCure's mission to the last person, let's say in Nagaland? I'm sure most of the people, including me, have not been to Nagaland. I cannot comment on how the infrastructure is, but I'm from Jharkhand and I know that in the village where I'm right now, the nearest hospital is 150 kilometers away. If anything happens to me or my loved ones, unfortunately, I have no option but to just figure out what to do. What were the few points which inspired you to build iCure? And I'm sure it must have been a very challenging journey because, on one side, I remember when iCure was starting, people were talking about Practo and people were talking about, DocDoc and ZocDoc. But what you are building is something very, very tangible on the ground and solving a real problem. So 3 questions combined in one. Number 1, what inspired you to build iCure? Number 2, how you're using technology to deliver to the last mile? And number 3, how challenging it was and how you're, kind of managing those challenges.
I think in terms of the inspiration, I remember that I was doing pretty well in Oracle, and there were 5 awards which I got in IBM and 6 in Oracle because of my way of disruptive thinking. And still, like when I went back to my own hometown and I was sharing that I do this work for US client and all, I could see that there was a disconnect with my own people. So there was some kind of an identity crisis, that even though I felt that I have been doing great, but that was not causing any meaning or purpose to my very own people. So that led me to think that how, through my own limited knowledge, how can I, bring a change in people's lives? And one of the most evident was the healthcare. So I kind of did a lot of research on figuring it out. And some of my own personal incidences, when I saw that my own family member was stuck, I was sitting in the middle of Bangalore, and the person needed some medical care. And the moment, let's say, typically when a person leaves a hospital, the doctor loses all contact with the patient. And if the patient has to connect with the doctor at any point in time, it's so difficult, really. So that is what the continuum of care model, which iCure has always dreamt of, and we are actually on that path. And that was the whole purpose to start iCure, that how using technology you would be able to go to the remotest parts. To the second question on the technology, that how it is changing people's lives, definitely we understand that technology is an enabler. Technology is not, everything, but definitely it's an enabler. And you can do only a certain part, but beyond that, you need services, you need great services, you need great people, you need smile on the people's faces to provide healthcare. That's all about. Healthcare is, unfortunately, many people think that healthcare is a commodity business. I beg to differ on that. You might see that you have seen advertisements on FM channels or huge billboards wherein people are talking about healthcare as a commodity. But healthcare is absolutely different, wherein unless and until you feel or have respect for the doctor or your service provider, of course, you will not have your trust and you will not be able to open up. That's how healthcare is. In any other business, if you look at any other business, even if you see a 10 rupees difference, you will go for that airline ticket or any other product. But in case of healthcare, even if you have to pay a premium, and if you have the trust factor, if you have that convenience, obviously you will be going for that person. So that's the difference element which is there. And using technology, we have seen that everything, for example, India as a country, like when we started in 2015, we understood that simple things like smartphone Our initial research was with University of Michigan, and the way a techie feels, like how a simple swipe gestures on a smartphone behaves, a techie feels that way. Then when we are trying to understand that it's impossible for every village to have a doctor, so the only way would be to empower and enable the frontline health workers. And who are these frontline health workers? These are normal village women who have never seen a smartphone, let alone a feature phone. So how you would be able to train them, give them smartphones and make them use of the applications? It was not so easy. So the simple swipe gestures, the phone was hanging in heat, sweat, dust. So it was extremely challenging to begin with, but thankfully we have actually overcome that challenge, and now we understand that we are able to do a plethora of services to the remotest parts, which is the offline online integration, the data capturing, the precision health. We have been working with the non-invasive glucose monitoring. Imagine a person, let's say your parent or anybody who is sitting in Delhi and you are sitting in Bangalore, in Kolkata, and instead of calling him up and asking dad or mom or whoever it is, how are you, you would say, I think you might have missed your morning walk because your sugar level is this, because I am able to see your sugar level through my phone, which is I am able to invoke your smartwatch through my phone. So that's the open API integration which iCure is working. So we have actually successfully crossed the second level of the research development, and it would be commercially available starting October this year. So that would be a breakthrough for any person who is diabetic. Every morning they have to do a prick, but now without doing that prick, you would be able to monitor. So this is just one example. We are working on hypertension. As you know, in the COVID situations, more than 45% of the deaths is because of their hypertensive. And none of the patients really know that they are hypertensive in nature. So we are creating an AI/ML solutions to detect that, yes, there are some indications of hypertension and you must go and treat yourselves in a proper way. So these are the path-breaking innovations which iCure is working on the cardiac ailments also. We are seeing so many incidences wherein even a 35-year-old guy and he's doing perfectly fine, and the next morning suddenly he is no more because they have gone through a cardiac arrest. So these kind of predictions you would be able to do, and wherein you would be able to predict many kind of things even before any such eventuality happens. So this is the another work which we are doing with IBM Watson on AI/ML solutions. So yes, technology is definitely an enabler, but what we are doing is that we know that for a simple health worker, rocket science is not the solution. For him or her, a robust, simple, workable solution works. For example, why did you think that we backed the Nagaland opportunity as against large technology players? This is because of a sheer understanding that how a frontline health worker can really work in the remotest parts where there is no internet, it's offline, wherein a simple person could be trained in a record 7 days in a COVID situations where we had the travel restrictions. So within a record time, we had rolled out the technology solutions for the entire 194 PHCs, and more than, I would say, 50, 60 PHCs, you would take 24 hours by walk to reach to that PHC. Imagine that kind of a situation, that kind of remote areas, we have been able to connect all of them under the telehealth program. So these are some of the most challenging things that we have done. But just like technology, as I said, that for us, we wanted to create a robust, workable, strong solution that can really work for a country, Bharat, not India. So that we have been able to do. I think that's the difference. In terms of the critical factors, I would say right from day one, people have questioned us, are you a healthcare company or a technology company? You can't be both. But we have believed in our idea. It's like both sides of the same coin. Just like iPhone is an iPhone because it is able to bundle hardware and the software seamlessly. We also believe that since we are able to understand the core problems on the ground, and we are able to quickly refer it back to our technology team with our technology partners, that's why we have some of the most robust technology solutions in hand. So believe in yourself. Of course, you might be listening to your critics, but what conviction that you have is very, very important. I remember when our discussions with Mr. Ratan Tata, and in 3 discussions, he was asking such minutest questions, and he said that you have been doing things which I was thinking. So that appreciation coming in from someone like Mr. Tata has definitely put to rest all the critical thinking that have heard for so many years. So I think thankfully for many of our entrepreneurs, we get to hear many of the things that, okay, this idea is already there, how you're different, or this may not work at all. So you might thinking, but a continuous practice, perseverance can definitely make a difference, and you can do the impossible. So that's in a nutshell.
Wonderful, Sujoy. I think I'm personally inspired from this wonderful story, and I must say that a lot of entrepreneurs from Bengal should listen to your talk, because we all join this conversation in talking about how the ecosystem is not robust and how not a lot of support system is available. But then I personally believe that if you're trying to solve a problem, you have the global ecosystem available to you. You're not building for Kolkata or Bengal. You're not building for East India. If you're building a technology which can be used anywhere in India or outside, I think you can then go ahead and use all the resources which are available, because today you can get access to the same quality of cloud infrastructure from a AWS or a Google. You can take advantage of the same emailing solution from a MailChimp or similar. So why do you want to restrict yourself by saying that there are challenges? But nevertheless, I would like to move on to the next speaker for the day, a good old friend, Sukriti. Sukriti, you built Outbox, a very inspirational story from Kolkata. Today, I mean, I would first talk about how important it is to capture beautiful moment. Every single time when we have an opportunity to celebrate, we always wonder, how can I make it even more beautiful? And I think Outbox fit right into that segment. Even during lockdown, I was looking at how Outbox has used various protocols to make sure that celebration does not stop, because I'm sure none of us can deny that entertainment and preserving these important moments are very, very crucial. Outbox has been very successful in doing that. Couple of questions to you, Sukriti. Number one, a young graduate, what inspired you to not go for a job and build a company from Kolkata, where your ticket size is a little premium? Number one. Number two, how difficult it was to bring all these service providers together on one platform and give this wow factor to each and every delivery which you do? And the final question, how is the growth during the COVID time, and what is your plan from here ahead? Sukriti, over to you.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for such a great explanation of what we do. I'd like to go one by one for what you asked. So the first question was like, why didn't I go for a job and started this company in Kolkata? So I think like right after I left my partner and I left college, we wanted to do something different from Calcutta, and we wanted to open a luxury market, because the genesis of the company was that we wanted to create a platform where people could come and plan experiences, and that did not exist back in 2014. And I still remember, like 2 months into the business, we were lucky enough to get a feature on Your Story, and the headlines was something like this company is trying to be the big fish in a small pond. And we were like, okay, is that a compliment, or are they trying to just say that Calcutta is a small pond? And we realized that they're actually, Calcutta is the small pond where we were trying to be the big fish, because Calcutta was not known for a startup market. Calcutta was known to be the laid back city where the young talent do not come out and create something unique or tech related. So that is where something that was really, which created a buzz in the market. And I think it did that's what, like, we get to hear that it did inspire a few people otherwise too, like to start something from the city. And regarding the high ticket size premier market, I think Calcutta was rather the most appropriate city to start for something like this, because Calcutta is a market where people are very flamboyant in their display of wealth. Like, they want things to be ultra luxurious, and definitely there has been a great impact in the lifestyle, great change in the lifestyle on people, how they dine and the dining culture over here. So we actually came in the right time, and we started providing experiences where you could just go down to any detail to personalize everything. Like for example, even if you're going for a 4-course dining, we would have like a personalized table mat, like a personalized napkin holder, to small things from cake toppers to everything would be personalized to you, to make you feel that you're the most important human on this planet on that particular day. So our entire purpose was to make you feel special and spread happiness. And the third question regarding COVID, and definitely how the growth has been during this pandemic. Definitely things have slowed down, because the scope of celebration has gone down. People are very skeptical, but you need to really change and divert your market as soon as you feel the need to. We changed our model overnight, And when the lockdown was announced on, I think, 21st March or something, I think within 2 days, our entire website changed from physical surprises to digital surprises. We had at least 30 options of, how you could surprise someone digitally. So that change was really required that time. And over the time, as and when things opened up, the lockdown opened up, we obviously started taking more precautions in terms of sanitary measures, because our services are, doorstep services. It requires a feel, a touch, and all that. So we have to make sure that everybody is living in a very safe environment to experience that kind of service.
Wonderful, Sukriti. Really appreciate that, Ashwarya. Uh, very, very glad to welcome you here, Oli. I really am fascinated with the name. What inspired you to pick up Oli? I've been there once. Such a beautiful place. Is there any relation with the place Oli?
Actually, I started off when I was very bored at my workplace when I was working with Reliance. The typical, you get paid a lot of money to work only few hours in a day. So in my spare time, I used to do something called blogging, which was very odd in 2009, 10, very different. So I used to have a blog called Ash You Like It. Okay, so it was Ash You Like It. So if you shorten that out, it stands for AULI. So the people who were already reading the blog had already christened the blog as Ollie, so it became like something which I kind of stood for. And now the blog is almost 10 years old, and Ollie is like 4. So around so that's why I chose Ollie, because it already had something to do with my life. Initially, Ollie was not supposed to be a skincare brand. It was supposed to be more of a honey related products, helping the fair trade of farmers. But very quickly we realized that there is only that much honey that can be produced in the country, and there is already dibs on it by the really big players. And they come way ahead of time with a way lot more deeper pockets, and they pick up everything that is manufactured or produced, you can say. So from honey and honey related products, because I had some kind of a how do you say, this blog, and I think from there the skincare line kind of popped up.
Wonderful. I have a couple of questions for you, but before I do that, I want to start with a very there was a report published last year by an organization which is primarily responsible to check adulteration in honey. More than 70% honey which is currently manufactured in India from large brands is all adulterated, similar to what is happening with milk.
Yes.
How do you think? I personally think that's a very huge opportunity for boutique organizations and hand-picked solutions companies like Oli. I recently met a company
Yes.
called Kali, the Kalimpong store in Siliguri, and I'm really inspired by such organizations. Do you think
Yes.
there is an opportunity for entrepreneurs to bring together artisans who are producing honey, beekeepers in small villages across the country, and create a very sustainable ecosystem of honey in the country? I would really appreciate if you can help us with this, and then we can go to the next question.
Actually, my father retired IS officer. He was primarily, he himself spent a lot of years of his, last few years before he retired in setting up, apiaries across West Bengal to try and find some way to be able to help these farmers make a living. Self-help groups, small groups of, villagers who set up these units. But unfortunately, if you see wherever there is honey production in India, there is a big company already established there who is immediately, see, you have to understand it's a natural produce, and it can't even be like, it's not even like fruits and vegetables that you can, reuse the kind of the soil over and over again. It's made by the bees, it's made by, natural flowers, orchards. So there is always a limitation in production. And what these multinationals who are having deep pockets, they really come in way before anyone else does, and say maybe 3 years worth of all their production is already paid for at a very minimal rate, maybe 30 rupees, 40 rupees a kilo, a kilo. And then, they kind of pick it up instantly. And the farmers are generally very happy with getting paid. Because for forever now, they have been paid very less for it. And then because the demand for honey is so large, that 70% that you were talking about is then mixed and layered with so many layers of preservatives and then put on the shelves. For a small business owner, when we do it in a small way, it's really profitable, and actually people tend to consume that honey. So for Ollie also, we started by doing 100 kilos of honey in a year, to now say maybe 1,000 kilos a year. But then there is a limitation. Beyond that, the farmer also kind of comes in and says, "Nahi, we can't give you any more because we are sold out." So that happens to I think, even if you go to the hills, I'm very close to Baichung. Baichung himself wants to bring in all the honey that Sikkim makes and give it to me to push it through my network, because I already have a good honey network. But there again, that is kind of a roadblock that we all face. I think all of us,
Sure.
and that's why it gets difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. Ashwarya. Coming to the main question about Ollie, the brand, and couple of points here. We all know India is a very large opportunity in terms of cosmetics, skincare. Close to $15 billion is the current market opportunity, growing at
Yes.
almost a 5% CAGR. Interestingly, India has seen some very amazing stories in the last few years. I'm personally very, very inspired by how brands have combined Ayurveda, traditional, traditional methods of making these beautiful products, and then you give them a very modern touch. Some very interesting brands, including Ollie and others, are there. Can we talk a little
Yes.
bit about the India opportunity for cosmetics, grooming, beauty for both men and women? Interestingly, we one of the organization I consult with, Venture Catalyst, we invested in one of the largest cosmetic brand from the country called Beardo. Very successful
Yes.
story. Recently got acquired by Marico. That has given me a lot of insights about the industry. But it would be great to hear from you. Number one, and number two, if you can talk about how Kolkata and the East India ecosystem helped you to build your brand. Aishwarya, over to you.
Yes. So 2-3 things quickly. The obviously it's clear that even during COVID times, in fact, when a lot of startup ecosystems were suffering, I think the one which boomed was skincare. I was very proud to be a part of that journey, where I started discussing skincare through my online sessions, through my live sessions, through a lot of discussions like this, where people came in to attend master classes and actually understand what is the need for good quality skincare, and what it does at a very core, like cellular level. So when you talk about something which is important and necessary, people understand the value of it, and then they go and make a conscious decision as to which product to buy. It's not only like a cosmetic application, but it's also a scientific approach to these particular products. I think which has given this industry the few the great boom that it deserves. And if you see 6 years, 5 years back, there was nobody who was really talking about what it does, how and why it should be used. It was more like, "Okay, I am a celebrity, I am using it, and then you must use it too." But if you see, lately people have started getting into the ingredients at the back of the product, and they really spend time to understand what each ingredient does, and see the difference on their skin. So there is no way now to kind of cheat the intelligent buyer. Although there is a huge market of people who are not doing that, agreed. But for people like me, at least, and that when we started making skincare, we wanted to keep it in a way that whatever we give, like say even Ronodeep, Sukriti, Sujoy, they all will be agreeing to this, that we want to give, we want to give an experience, and that experience should add value to a person's life. And I think that experience is what Ollie and all of the other competitive brands are also doing, is to give a visual experience, give a fragrance, give a sensory experience, give an effective experience to the end user. And that's why the end user is moving from your over the counter, easily available, Ponds and Lakme, and trying their hands at new age, short, smaller forms, new age products, which are talking about ingredients, which are talking about benefits, which are talking about education of these particular, using these particular things. And I think that's what makes the market so nice and new. The same people, but now thinking in a new way, is what makes this work so interesting. And so, you wake up every day and want to do it more because you're teaching someone to something new, and then they are taking that and that experience and handpicking out from, people like me and my competitors who are making products from their heart. So I think that is something that.
But I think we have a question here for you. How do you see the pH level conversation and controversy as a challenge or opportunity for the skincare market?
Okay, so some people do the pH. So some people just throw the pH at you as if it's just a number. But pH levels, obviously, whoever thought that our skin's pH is acidic, right? We always think that it's neutral, but it's actually acidic. But nobody is actually, telling the story that it should be a little acidic and not alkali. And the soaps make your skin alkaline. And when the skin gets alkaline because of using soaps, then the other products that you're using is now not going to have as much effect as it would have if your skin pH was normal or acidic. So, these are when you just see a random billboard saying that iska pH ye hai, uska pH wo hai, and hence we are better. That doesn't really solve the problem. That is like, somebody who has deep pockets is going and putting out an information out there and just using it as a gimmick. Whereas I think somebody who would explain to a bunch of even 10 people what is pH and how pH is important and what it does to your various layers of skincare, I think that is that way you create opportunity, and that way you create interest, and that way you make sure that the guy is always going and looking at what is the pH number here on the product and then picking up the product. So I think it's an opportunity, of course. It's an opportunity, but an opportunity to educate and not sell. If I have answered your question, Biplab.
Yes, you did. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
We move on to the next question quickly before Jatin comes in for the rapid fire. Sujoy, healthcare. If we look from an entrepreneur's perspective, it's a very large opportunity. But then again, it's a complicated opportunity. What would be your quick, wisdom thoughts around if somebody is trying to build a healthcare startup from Eastern India? How can they plan this? Maybe if you can share your learnings, a lot of challenges I'm sure which you faced, and how they can take this journey ahead if you're thinking to build anything in the healthcare domain. Sujoy.
Yeah, I think within the healthcare, there are many segments, definitely. So, for example, one is on the service side, and within the service side, there are primary, secondary, the tertiary care. Then there could be also on the devices side, medical devices side. Definitely, again, that's a fast emerging space because here you have to compete not only within the Indian competitors, but also global competitors in terms of the price and packaging and everything. There could be other, I would say dynamics to that. For example, AI and ML is definitely taking a shot, but we have to understand that AI ML is not everything, definitely, because here AI and ML going forward would be also ensuring some place. As you have seen that NDHM is coming into play, that is National Digital Health Mission, which was announced by our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, on the 15th of August. That means that every citizen of our country would be having a digital health ID. We have to understand that just like an Aadhaar, the health ID, creating a health ID would be more than 10 times complicated than Aadhaar, because Aadhaar is more of a one-time transaction, and creating a digital health ID wherein you have to do transactions and records between a patient and a health worker and a doctor at a block level, district level, uh, state level, it would be much more complicated. Then, for example, just like the way you're transacting money over UPI, you'd be able to transact data on your health over UPI in the near future, because I'm part of the National Core Committee of IT and ITS of CII and Government of India, wherein this bill is being tabled. But there would be also concerns on the patient data privacy. So there would be some opportunities on the data privacy side, medical device opportunities side also. Some quick, insights wherein I have seen some of the, so-called entrepreneurs who are trying to, let's say, use some of the research which has been done by the professors, and then they see that, okay, for me, just trying to copy and then creating some, winning some awards should not be the your objective. Your objective to would be definitely to create a long-term sustainable solution and a plan creating and focusing on the revenue model, wherein how you would be able to create and define your revenue model. So these are the different elements within the healthcare, and what is your interest, what is your expertise would define the particular sector within the healthcare also. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sujay. I really appreciate that. Ranadeep, my next question to you. Um, as a young entrepreneur from Bengal, from Kolkata, or from east part of the country, what should be my three steps which I need to take while building a venture? Also, how can I overcome challenges in terms of capital, manpower, and access to market?
When I started in Calcutta, my first store was with Oxford Bookstore, as far as I remember. But then we quickly moved on to other parts of the country. We started with W.H. Smith, and then we started with Shoppers Stop and others. So even if you are starting from Calcutta, online you can sell across the globe or across the country. And there are other retail players. So if you are starting a product like mine was a retail-oriented product, it was easy back then. Though it's difficult to contact the correct people, but it needs a lot of hard work, going on to places, going on to meet people, but then you will be able to crack. That is for the question answer the last part. Second part, in terms of capital, I feel India has got enough capital at this point of time. Raising funds is easier than ever at this point of time, because even when I was raising funds in back in 2017-18, it was still difficult. Now it is quite easy with Sanjay Mehta's fund 100x VC, with our own venture catalyst fund which has come up. I'm unable to recall the name. The fund
Nine
of
nine
VCats,
unicorn, nine unicorn.
9 unicorns. Yeah. So with our own fund and a lot of other such networks, it is really easy to raise funds at this point of time. Being from Calcutta doesn't stop you, because if you have your metrics correct, if you have good customer traction and everything else is perfect, raising funds is not a challenge. And in terms of manpower, yes, I have faced a lot of problems of manpower in Calcutta. Right now, I'm sitting in my warehouse in Bangalore. So after raising my first round of fund, I slowly started moving on to Delhi and other parts of the country. Now we operate from seven warehouses. So there will always be challenges in no matter, it is not a hard and fast rule कि Calcutta में challenges है. Challenges हर जगह पे है. We faced challenges in Goa because Goa was a new territory for us. We just started 2 months ago. So challenges हर जगह पे रहते हैं, but then you have to find a solution. So manpower issue will be there in Calcutta, but then you have to hire from other states, ask them to move on. You have to relocate people and then do it. But yes, one thing I can proudly say about Calcutta is because as the ecosystem is very small, getting help is easy. So everyone is very closely connected. So if I need a solution on something, I can just write onto a group on WhatsApp and get a solution very easily. So small ecosystem has its own advantages and has its own disadvantages as well. Because if you are from a bigger ecosystem like Bangalore or Bombay or NCR, finding the correct mentor for your business or the person whom you can talk to when you face a difficult problem is quite easy. But if you are from a city like Calcutta, it really becomes difficult. I was lucky enough to get my mentor at a very early phase. But yeah, these are a few problems. But then if you are smart enough, you'll figure out solutions.
Great, thanks, Ranadeep. Really appreciate that. Jatin, do you wanna jump in here, or I continue with two more questions with the panelists, and then
Yeah,
we can
you continue.
take...
You finish.
Right.
You finish that, and then I'll jump in.
Great, great. Sukriti, my next question to you. Two questions. I personally believe that luxury is a very large segment in India, and it's untapped. There's so much which can be done. If I want to build a luxury brand, be it a FMCG, be it a retail, be it a service, what should be a couple of points which you want to share with me as an entrepreneur? Number one. Number two, how do you see you know entertainment industry at scale, trying to get back to where it was? I'm sure it's going to take a while, but what should be the strategy? What is your strategy? Because I'm sure people would be able to take a lot of cue from your thoughts, Sukriti.
Right. So, for the key points of entering a luxury market, See, I would just say that, we have also done a lot of trial and error and taken, tested our product and taken a lot of customer feedback. And what we realized is to enter a luxury market, firstly, targeting the entire audience or a large audience is something that where people mistake themselves and try to reach out to the masses. The buyers of the luxury product or a luxury service, they like exclusivity. They like the fact that they are the only ones or they're the selected ones, who are entitled to buy this product or something. So whatever you get into, whether it's a product or a service, you have to portray it in a manner that it is very exclusive, in a very luxurious way and minimalistic. So what matters is your aesthetics, how minimal you are. So it cannot be loud and it cannot shout something like, I'm expensive. So that is something definitely that you can look into the luxury market. Regarding the entertainment, industry coming back on its feet, I think, we still have a year or two to get back to normal life of how things were, and where we could expect, weddings to happen in a manner of 1,000 guests again. But what is the need of the hour is how we change ourselves right now in today's, for example, I'll give you some examples of how I see startups have completely changed their model to digital experiences. For example, if you go to insider.in right now, or if you go to even Book My Show, they have ample of digital experiences. And I would also actually like to point out something that I've been using: Airbnb. We all know Airbnb as a platform where you can go and book like a stay or a vacation or something like that, right? But I don't think a lot of people know how Airbnb has completely transformed themselves into online experiences market since the pandemic happened. So when you go actually log into Airbnb right now, you will find more than 2,000 experiences from people curating it all over the world, where you will have a Spanish person teaching you Spanish cuisine, or maybe like somebody taking you, showing you Taj Mahal, or somebody sitting in Eiffel Tower teaching you the history of Paris. It's insane how people have actually transformed themselves into what is the need of the hour.
Great, Sukriti. I really appreciate that. Ashwarya, my next question to you. We already spoke about the India opportunity for beauty. We already spoke about how there are some unique opportunities available. My question to you: when somebody is trying to build an FMCG brand, especially in the beauty and cosmetics, people think that they need millions of dollars just to start the production, because you need branding, you need packaging, you need manufacturing, you need supply chain, you need social media, all of that. That's one part of the story. On the second part, I've seen so many amazing people like you, who actually have used Instagram, who have used TikTok, who have used various other platforms to start homemade small batches, slowly graduating. I think one example which I really like is Wow. I'm sure you know the story when the Wow Skin Sciences, they started their journey. They started with the apple cider vinegar, and then when they were selling it, a lot of people started writing to them saying that after consuming the apple cider, my hair growth is very nice. That gave them some idea. They came back with the shampoo range and etc. etc. Very interesting. What would be your insights if somebody is trying to build a beauty or a healthcare or a cosmetic brand in India? What is the best approach for that?
First, see, if you have the millions of dollars, then great. Okay, because you always miss that, because sometimes it comes handy. But if you didn't have a choice, like I didn't, so there, what happens is now you have to start connecting with your consumer. You make them believe in the product. You show them the only way of them doing it is to make them really feel that they spent their money in something which was of value. If someone is suffering from acne, give them maybe one or two items. You explain to them first how one item cannot solve their entire problem. First, you explain that. And then you tell them that, okay, listen, I'll give you small to start with. You start small, you see difference, and then you come back to me on for the next round. I think when you go easy, because you don't have that millions of dollars, it's okay to go easy, but connect with people one person at a time. I did that one person at a time. First 2 years, um, really, you have to listen to people who they'll only give you the idea for the next step. They wow, they'll tell you what they're expecting of you. When I started with honey range, they said I want an aloe vera range. When you did an aloe vera range, they said okay, why not a vitamin C range? When you did a vitamin C range, they'll tell you that okay, you know what, I saw some international person using retinol. Should I use retinol? So everybody is talking to you, especially your customers. You'll have to be backed by data. You have to be backed by your region. And yes, the most important thing that you said is social media being relevant. And that doesn't mean that using social media to do what is trending. That is for that is for everyone else. But what you need to do is you need to find out what you can offer. Even in that noise, people will pick you and they'll listen to you. If you have something nice to say about them, make them feel good, even though you're telling them that there is a problem which I can fix, but you can still tell them that you're beautiful anyway. And then you give them information through social media as much as you can, whatever you know or what you're learning. And during COVID times, I studied so much. I got certified as an esthetician. I got certified as a cosmetologist, all online. I did it because my trade asked me to do. And then I started talking, and then people started listening. Before that, it was, even I was not convinced if what I'm saying is that making any sense. But once I was trained, when I learned, then it worked. So social media, along with that, customers and taking baby steps. There is no rush. If take baby steps, so apne aap ho jayega. If you give good quality products, if you give good quality service, and if you make people feel special, I think there is no stopping you. There is no, your money will come to you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks.
Really appreciate that. Jatin, we have a couple of minutes before we wrap up, so I would be more happy to pass on the mic access to you. Yeah.
Awesome. This was a brilliant discussion. So friends, all of you can open up your videos and you can give a one word or one line answers, right? So we can cover 2-3 more questions. Aishwarya, in your entrepreneurial journey, what is that one thing you feel that you could have done little differently?
You're on mute, Aishwarya, please.
Okay, I think I studied about skincare as a trade. Like I was so busy in the business that I didn't realize that maybe I should know exactly the process of these. So once I did that, I started making better formulations. I started making better products. So yeah.
We'll have to run faster so that I want to cover 3-4 questions.
Sure.
Which is one thing you feel that you could have done little differently?
I don't know. I mean, maybe every day is a different for me. Every day is a new challenge. But probably it could have been the way in terms of like linking and integrations with technology. Probably I could have started the healthcare delivery a little earlier than maybe we took time for that.
Okay. Ranodip, one line answer. So I'll just run faster so that we can finish on time. Which is one thing you feel you could have done? Yes.
I wish we focused on digital business faster than retail.
Okay, awesome. Ravi, you've been a mentor, entrepreneur, supporter. Which is one thing you feel that you could have done little differently?
I wish I could have started way early when I was still in school, at least in college. And even today, I wish that more and more people can start as early as they can, because it gets too late. Yeah.
Okay. Just give 1 or 2 word answers. I want to cover 2 questions. If everything happens the way you imagine it would be, in that case, what would your organization be, Aishwarya?
I don't know. Everybody would be using Oli products and being very happy with with themselves.
Yes. We also missed Sukriti for the first question.
Sukriti is somehow not in the call.
Dropped out.
Okay.
Sujay, just 1 or 2 word answer.
In terms of, sorry, what's the question quickly?
The question is, if everything happens the way you imagine it would be, in that case, what would iCure be?
I would say that no patient should die due to unavailability of primary healthcare. That's our dream. I don't know when that will happen.
No, awesome. This is brilliant. Ranodip.
10 million artisans being a part of our family, and we get more and more artisans on board across the globe, not only India.
Awesome. And Ravi, you've been part of a lot of things. But
I have been privileged to train now 1,70,000 aspiring entrepreneurs and around 7,000 teachers. I wish that 10% of them go out and build startups and solve problems.
Awesome. So I asked this question because once you do that, I'll share this recording, say that this is where they spoke about that. But the last part. So typically ending Zoom calls is very tricky. So what we do, the moment last person answers that question, I immediately close the call. So we don't have those awkward bye-byes. So the question is, if you were to describe your entrepreneurial journey in one word, in that case, what would that be? 1 or 2 words describing your entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so
I
you answered
started
first.
I'm going first. Entertainment.
Ravi, you go last. Moment you say your word, I'll close the call. Ranadeep?
Feels like a movie.
Awesome. Entertainment and movie, these are the exciting ones. Sujay?
Yeah, I think the joy of serving them. Yeah.
Awesome. Ravi, first of all, thank you so much, everyone, because I'll be closing the call immediately. Ravi, one word.
Solving problems and building India the true leader in the world.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. We started